Alrighty guys, PES 2020 and myClub tactics. We're going to talk about the best possible tactics being used on PES 2020 and on myClub as well that will help you out to pick a manager. If you watch these series of videos that I'm doing right now, I've made a video for formation, this is for tactics, next one is going to be advanced instructions, and then the best recommended managers, and then squad builder. So if you watch all these videos, you'll be able to pick the best possible squad with the players that you have on myClub, pick the best possible formation and a tactic, and mix it up with your ability, because we all have different skills, different decision making in the game, different vision, different temper control, and different players on myClub. So do this according to what you prefer as well. Mix it up with what I'm giving you here, because I usually test everything online. I sacrifice my win ratio playing against people, humans online. That's, I find it the best way to give tips and tutorials. And I'm involved with a lot of people in the community, some of the top ranks that are in my stream as well. We always ask them. We all learn from each other if you put our egos aside. Now, without further ado, let's talk about the attack and defense instructions. Now, if you get a basic knowledge about the attack and defense instructions, how it works, you'll be able to pick a manager. You will know which formations to avoid, which one are good, and which one suits yours now. Now, in the game, the attack instructions, obviously we have the attack and style, counter or position. It tells you right there. You can pause it and read it. And I'm gonna explain these based on non-PES language in my own impression in a way. Build up, obviously we have long pass and short pass. Now remember, build up long ball doesn't necessarily mean spam long balls. It just means playing a little bit more direct. Attacking area, you have wide and middle. Positioning, you have maintain formation or flexible, which I'm going to get into that. Support range is one of the most important things, because the higher the support range, the higher the players from spread away from the ball carrier. And I'm going to show you an example. Next thing, if you go to the defensive instructions, we have defensive style, frontline pressure, all out defense, containment area, middle all wide. Containment area is something that I want to talk about a lot, because we usually recommend containment area middle. From the defensive line that cuts all avenues for the passing, forward passing, then force the opposition players towards the middle. Now you're probably thinking, all right, Seb, middle of the pitch is where the danger is. Why would I force my team to go down the middle in a way? So even though containment area middle, you are forcing your opponent to come down the middle. The reason why we pick that, because if you pick containment area wide, your players will try to push the opposition players to go to the flank. Okay, now that's what you want to do, because the danger is in the middle. But the problem is with containment area wide, when your AI try to push the opposition players to go to the flank, he will always have a player down the middle. He will always have one or two players down the middle. So you'll be watching your team spreading out wide in a way, and you're going to give them a lot of space down the middle. Now, containment area wide do work against people who likes to play on the flank, who constantly like to play on the flank. So if you're playing normal online divisions, you're in charge of your tactics. Somebody's spamming too much, you can select containment area wide. So you can pick that accordingly as well, because we all play different. You could be, tactic is in everything, but because you don't control, you only control one player at a time. Rest of your players are controlled. They're gonna move in attack and defense based on your tactic, attack and defense instructions. So that does matter. I mean, first the formation matters, but then the tactic matters as well. For example, on myClub, you can pick Diego Simeone for 222, Zidane for 222, you know, different managers for 222. They're not gonna act the same way because they have different tactics. So ideally, I always recommend containment area middle, but if you're on myClub, definitely containment area middle. Now, the other important thing is, obviously all of that are important, but your support range, containment area, and compactness matters as well. In my opinion, your compactness should never be lower than 5, because you want to be compact. Ideally in football, when you lose the ball, you want to be as compact as possible. And when you're on the ball, you want to be as wide as possible. But within myClub, people will always stay narrow, narrow most of the time, because of the ping pong thing. So if I show this this one right here, right? Now, as you can see, counter-attack in this picture, it shows you exactly how things work, especially if you are new to PES. With possession, you got to do a lot of passing back and forth. Triangle passing back and forth. Mix it up with trigger runs, 1-2, pass and move, and just play less predictable. Because a lot of people, including myself, when I'm streaming with never 100% focus, when you're attacking and you don't see any options, don't just attack for the sake of it. Go back, make a couple of passes backward. You'd be surprised how you're going to open up your opponent. Even know if you're losing. The worst thing to do is go super aggressive and rushing your gameplay. I know the time is running out, you might be losing, but you just end up giving them the ball. Especially on myClub, whoever is losing will have the game's algorithm for him in a way. Short pass, of course, short or long pass, I explained. As you can see right here, long pass is not all about playing long balls non-stop. It's about getting the ball outside your own half as quick as possible, then do your build-up. So if you keep this picture in your head, whether it's long ball or short pass, it gives you an example. Like if you exactly copy that in your gameplay, you will be effective and no doubt. You're on the ball in the midfield. As you can see in this photo that shows, let it restart again. You're on the ball on the midfield. You give it to the flank. You come to the side. You give it backward. You switch to the other side. And then you switch again. And then boom, through ball. Now, against good players, this way, if you play this way, I'm not saying exactly, but it gives you an idea. Because you will stumble against people who never underestimate anybody, especially on myClub, whether they are low rated, have a weaker team. There are games where you have to play like this. You have to make that extra pass. You have to get that extra player in. In terms of attacking area wide or center, that's personal preference. Maintain formation. Usually I prefer maintain formation if I am playing counter attack. If I have Ronaldo on the flank, I want him to stay on the flank. Flexible, switch more about position or tiki-taka. Next, your support range. As I said, now the support range, whether it's support range or compactness or defensive line, from 1 to 3 is low. From 4 to 7, it's medium. From 8 to 10 is high. And I would say from 6 to 7, it's medium high in a way. So if you're one of those players who like quick passing, make sure your pass support is not higher than 5, I would say. I mean, of course, on myClub, you can use tiki-taka to make the players stay close to you, but the disadvantage of tiki-taka, your players won't make runs behind the opposition's defense. So ideally, I would definitely recommend pass support between 3 to 5, the highest. And the best tactic at the moment I would recommend, well, that really depends. That really depends on the formation that you're picking. And if I make a different tactic for every formation, that's going to be a long-ass video. I'm just explaining how everything's work. That way, you will know which managers to pick, which managers not to pick. You'll have a knowledge which formations are effective, which ones are not, and which one to avoid, which one to look for. Frontline pressure, obviously, usually, ideally, you want to play like this. You want to be pressing outside your own half, and you want to stay conservative in your own half. But that varies. At the moment on myClub, avoid using all-out defense and conservative if you can handle the pressure. Because smart players, they know you play it deep, they're just going to play around the box. And also avoid frontline pressure and aggressive if you don't have fast players. Now, ideally, you want to play all-out defense and aggressive if you are leading. Like even on myClub, have an assistant coach who has all-out defense and aggressive tactic. Why? Because when you're leading, you don't want to press your opponent in a way. But you want to be aggressive when he's in your box so you can absorb pressure, intercept, and counter. Currently on myClub, I think frontline pressure aggressive works okay based on the formation that you have and the players that you have. I personally prefer all-out defense and aggressive or frontline pressure and aggressive. All-out defense and conservative, it works as well. On the live stream, I am never 100% focused. I can still use all-out defense conservative, but it needs a lot of patience because smart players will pressure you. One thing to avoid managers with defensive line 8 or 9 or 10 if you don't have fast players. And ideally, even if you have fast players, at the moment, through balls are very effective. So I would say look for managers who has support range not higher than 7. If the manager's AOD and conservative, that still doesn't matter. When your defensive line is high, whether you are AOD and conservative, your team will press high up in a way. So I recommend defensive line 4, but it's really hard on myClub to find a manager who has everything good and low defensive line. So if you're playing it outside myClub, I would say go defensive line 1, 2, or 3, nothing higher. But if you playing very deep and the opponent's destroying you with possession, then you gotta know when to change what and which one to change. This is what video is all about. Your compactness, as I said, one thing to avoid, like don't sign a manager with containment wide and compactness 5, because that you're just gonna be super open down the middle. Usually containment area wide is okay if you're playing 3 at the back. So your compactness should always be, in my opinion, not lower than 5. Like I usually wouldn't pick a manager with compactness 5. I'll just avoid it on myClub. I would say from 6 to all the way to, I mean, higher compactness is not a problem. The only problem will be if your compactness is super high and containment area is middle, you will be giving your opponent a lot of chances on the flank, which is okay because the danger is in the middle. And usually defending players who go wide, you just want to let the AI do the defending for you, because there's a little thing that's contextual where your player just intercepts the ball. You don't want to be tackling, let the cross get into the box, and you have a best chance to stop the cross rather than the header most of the time. Usually in corner kicks, I haven't made a video about it. You can watch that out, how to defend and score corner kicks. So the downside, everything that I suggest here, and in my opinion, have a downside and a good side. Obviously, high compactness, you're going to be a little bit open on the flank, but you don't want to be too open down the middle because that's where the danger is. So we covered all the tactic instructions. In the previous video, we covered all the best formations. Next video is going to be advanced instructions, and then after that, I'm going to show the most recommended managers, and then we're going to get some squad builders and in future videos, pack opening, myClub series, etc. Hope you guys find the video useful. If you did, drop a like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, be PESEP. Ciao for now.